game of the year. Going to try and add that pick potential for TSM now with the Ivern as well as the Jhin. A lot of skill shots that could potentially land to lock people down.
Very interesting. So the Soul, I guess it's two half tanks. It's Svensker and Bifrost who are going to be holding up the front lines here for TSM, neither of which can build outright tanky that easily. Yeah. But with two of them together should be enough. Not
an incredibly strong front line, but still a lot of damage built in for TSM. And then if you look at COG, this is their attempt to be a little bit different as far as the meta picks. You would expect something like a Varus and a Cassiopeia if you're going with a pure meta team comp.
Right.
Sivir and Aurelion Sol does speak more to Counterlogic gaming strengths of the past, hoping to pull a little bit from that success.
And we do know that who he's Aurelion Sol is incredibly strong. This Sivir definitely throws us for a loop. Varus not even picked or banned in the entire champ select, so really not things we were expecting in a 7.2 when the champion's comparably stronger when his favorite items got buffed. But that's going to be the draft for this game. I'm sure Parth was not expecting that, but it's what they came through with in this. As game one, you can see the comps on your screen.
Absolutely, and we're getting this underway. As you mentioned, COG 1-3 heading into this matchup. TSM 3-1. Still super early in the season. We were kind of talking about this yesterday. Yeah. It's like COG wins this game and suddenly they're one game back of TSM, so plenty of splits still yet to be played. And it's not the first time COG has been off to a slow start. They're hoping to make those improvements.
And we know COG can do it. The power of teamwork is strong with this squad. The fans have faith. The TSM ones do as well. As we head into game one of this best of three, TSM CLG, beginning of week 3. Here we go.
All right.
Always love when games start with the chants. Thank you to our wonderful audience for always being such a good part of the show. And we are here to run ourselves into the river.
Pretty strong CLG chants in there as well.
Yeah.
So I feel like depending on the successes in this game, we're going to hear either the CLG or the TSM chants. Early on in the game as well, pay a lot of attention to how well the mid and the bottom lane can shove for COG, because that may or may not open up Xsmithy trying to invade. One thing that we talk about when we look at Ivern jungle pathing is just how easily he can counter jungle you, because the standard start for Iverns is to tap or channel on some of the early jungle camps, because there's about a 40-second delay early on in the game before he can take them for free, save his smite, and then go for an enemy buff and use his first smite over there. So there's a couple different ways to do it, but it's very rare that you see an Ivern not successfully counter jungle at least one camp.
Yeah.
So you make it much more dangerous for the Ivern to invade if you can have shoving lanes where you think he's going to be trying to invade. So really pay attention to where Huhi and Stixxay can get these lanes.
Yeah, it is worth pointing out that Ivern, unlike most of the popular junglers, is not very good at getting away from things, right? Jumping over walls requires tagging a minion or something with your Q, and getting out tends to be hard unless you can magically find a scuttle crab to leech yourself to. You can see Huhi making a nice early play, shoves the wave in, puts a ward down to spot. That's actually pretty good. He surmises that Ivern started topside and then wanted to invade, would invade through this bottom river.
Yeah, and this is, I'd say, the most standard Ivern start, where you start on your red and Raptors, run over to get your blue, and then channel on the way back. And by the time he gets to his Raptors and red buff again, they will turn, so he'll be able to just collect those, and that'll either transfer to him going and stealing the enemy Gromp with the smite that's going to be coming off the cooldown by the time he gets there, or ganking top lane.
Speaking of top lane, they're going to be battling back and forth. We expect Haunter to get an eventual lead. Has lost some HP in a trade, as you can see in the top right of your screen, but otherwise, Counterlogic Gaming in the blue side, getting the early pressure lead in the bot lane. Perfect CS in the first 2 waves for Stixxay. That's actually very good of him. Sivir has very low base attack speed, and you have to use the W reset or your Q to hit minions if they're getting low at the same time.
Yeah.
He just shoving in. And miss 2 CS overall is not too bad.
So Svenskeren has been doing the safest possible Ivern route from the looks of it. Still going to have a smite up, and he's going to end up running into Kha'Zix in the Gromp area right now. Push him out a little bit.
I do want to point out something that I've seen almost every bot laner do, is they're all going longsword 3 potions now that started basically in week 2 of the LCS, and it's gone to basically everyone. And for most of these champions, they just want to buy a serrated Dirk early or even an Essence Reaver, and that just ends up smoothing out your build path. You're not dumping 450 gold into a Doran's Blade. And the 2 extra potions makes it really easy to stay in lane, even though you're missing the life steal and the extra HP. And this just ends up power spiking you earlier. And right, if the concern is always that these bot lane marksmen aren't scaling up in time, this shortcuts their build by 400 gold and makes them scale up a bit quicker. They're just missing some of the life steal that could have happened, maybe would have mattered in the mid-game team fights.
Yeah, I feel like it's an interesting evolution of that bottom lane right now. It also opens up for more all-ins. We should note as well, Haunter did burn Flash at level 2, so Xmithy now jumping onto Svenskeren. Haunter can't help.
Here, flashing, there's the root coming in, and Huhi's nearby as well. Sven's got no way out anymore. That's gonna be first blood counter logic gaming buffs over to Huhi.
Yeah, and that was so much about Svenskeren just getting really greedy for an early ward because his lanes weren't shoving. We talked about counter jungling and paying attention to where the lanes were. Well, mid lane wasn't shoved up either, and they were able to just collapse on him as soon as he tried to go for a ward.
And more success in the bot lane as well for counter logic gaming. You can see if the tank support misses his CC, you can go right back onto him. TP to rejoin the lane. Of course, keep in mind, Haunter is flashless. Xmithy and Darshan could flash root if they think they have the damage. Does he want to? The slow is enough. The knockback's going to be there. The barrel chain, and Haunter's got nowhere to go. Look at that. The sapling takes him out. 2-0 CLG.
You couldn't ask for a much better start than that. Darshan burns the flash from Haunter at level 2. They get double buffs transferred onto their mid laner, and then they get a post-teleport kill onto the enemy top while the wave is pushed against him. So this is Haunter's going to get heavily denied in that top lane. That is one of the worst things that can happen, but it's going badly all over the map.
You can see him right here. Wants to set up the barrel, explodes it early because he sees Xmithy. Yeah. The chase out is just so easy at this point.
I mean, and it's a 4-second channel on teleport. Haunter, the wave was in the wrong spot for Haunter the whole time, and it was in the wrong spot when Svenskeren was up top, and really so much of this play started several minutes ago. If Svenskeren would have just been up there to guard against the gank and help Haunter safely shove in so he could bounce the wave back, that would have been acceptable. And that's what Svenskeren's doing right now. He just needs to be here for Haunter so they can try and get that wave into the turret. So Haunter just stops getting denied.
Absolutely agree. You can see even some nice plays right there, some nice synergy. Rush on the barrel so that no one can last hit it and knock it down. Not that Darshan could anyway on a Maokai, but yeah, and also keep in mind, you had pointed this out a while ago, Haunter had no flash. There was a level 2 all-in that Darshan basically prompted that made Haunter blow flash and get chunked out of lane, and that was even part of the first blood that happened, is part of the reason Haunter couldn't help Svenskeren a while ago. So Darshan, I gotta give him a lot of personal credit to, up 25 minions in a matchup that Haunter wanted.
Yeah.
And for a player that's been getting so much flack for his gameplay, I feel like Darshan's last roughly year has been a bit of a darker mark on his record. This is a very good start.
I agree with that. Just missed that cannon minion, unfortunately, but he's staying aggressive and trying to keep Haunter back. Keep in mind, like, GP is not expected to win a lane early on. He's very much about a scaling champion, but 41 CS to 15 is much more than you expect, and that does happen from the early flash burn and also the assistance that Xmithy and Huhi have been able to give him. So really tough time for Haunter in this lane, and Darshan playing this matchup right.
And it's staying tough, too. That lane is still frozen in front of Darshan's turret. Haunter doesn't get to do anything. Hook from Brush. 6A he just knows enough about the game to stay outside of hook range of that Brush. And
Huhi coming top.
Again.
Still no flash on Haunter.
Yeah, sees that there's a ward. Yeah, when Aurelion Soul flies, both he and other people can see over walls against him. He's like, that's warded, never mind. Haunter ran back. And Haunter will be level 6 soon with that ulti. Even if he's held down in lane, he can use that to assist the rest of the map. Maybe we start seeing better things out of this gangplank.
Yeah, and this is kind of the moment in the game that COD needs to keep up the pressure. Xmithy's going for some pretty aggressive plays inside Svenskeren's jungle, hoping to just, you think he's hoping to take the red. Oh, he's going for Sven.
Well, level 5, level 6, Daisy is in, so is the rest of the Event Horizon. They're going to go for the pushback there, trying to get the rest of the damage down. Can't quite make it happen. A Smite gets rid of Daisy. Goodbye. But that's actually some pretty good fighting from Sven getting his ulti.
It's true. I mean, when Svenskeren is level 6, is when he becomes very good against Kha'Zix because he can eliminate the isolation bonus that he would be getting for it, and that's exactly what he does there.
Bjergsen is in. One no shot. Nicely done, Bjergsen. The summonerless Huhi goes down.
Huhi getting a little greedy with the wave when he comes back to lane, and Stixxay getting jumped on.
Beautifully played here by Biofrost and Turtle. The flash play. Couldn't predict it in time. Stixxay probably should have preemptively flashed, didn't do it. Nice kill for TSM, ties up the score.
Yeah, and it was looking pretty grim for TSM being down 2,000 plus gold pre-8 minutes, but being able to get multiple kills across the lanes really going to keep them in the game and kind of lower that sense of urgency that they may have been feeling.
Absolutely. He's going to feel a lot better. This game's only 700 gold apart, and that is completely manageable. Bjergsen up 4 minions, bot lane pretty much equal as well, so as long as Hotzer gets a bit back, they're going to be okay.
Yeah, I mean, Huhi just in the lane pretty long and thinking he'd be safe by threatening Bjergsen with that stun. Nice flash by Bjerg to get over it to finish the kill, and then at this point, yes, 6A had flash and heal, but was not able to flash any of the CC and just should have preemptively burned his summoner spells, otherwise dead.
I don't know if spells were up at the time, but certainly wasn't able to cast it there if it wasn't cooled down. It was still a good play by Biofrost. You got to give credit to TSM for making the opening move, and Aftermoo had roamed out of the lane, and it was the easy time for the 2v1. And now, how about a 3v1? Into the mid lane they go. Xmithie gonna face check the brush. The king to the fence, Garen. And he flashes in time to not get hooked away. But here comes Bjergsen. There's the play. Out they go. Triple stun for Huhi. But that's gonna be it. Hotzer finally getting revenge from the top lane gank. The ult takes him out. Huhi can't chase through the box. And that is a 1-for-0 TSM.
Yeah, and COG also burned Sivir ultimate in the river, trying to collapse onto TSM there. So overall, a very successful roam, and TSM really fighting back. You'd think COG, with that early lead, could have closed out a little bit more, but Xmithie never got an experienced lead on his Svenskeren, even after being able to take out his double buffs. And then the few kills that TSM was able to get back in the lane have enabled them to make a lot of these roam plays to try and keep the aggression on.
Yeah, TSM tying it up basically, and we'll see how much more aggressive they can get here. You got Svenskeren again into the enemy base, enemy jungle, I should say, killing off this control ward on the tri-brush. And now TSM looking so much better than they did in the first 5 minutes of this game. And even Hansa, you can see that minion deficit has actually shrunk from before, both in flat value and percentage-wise. He can't quite stop the recall, and Bjergsen has enough control over mid that he's okay. Xmithie unlucky there. I think they would have liked to make the roam to bot lane or maybe go for the Drake.
Yeah, I think that could have set up for a very quick Drake rush. Kazak's one of the best Drake killers in the game. Doing it on top of the board, but they're about 5 seconds delayed on this because of the failed plant. We'll see if that hurts them as Svenskeren and Wild Turtle are closing in.
Should be okay. Turtle slowed this could be a stun. Has to flash away, barely gets it in time. Stun still lands, but that is a kill. And Xmithie should have leap to get over the wall. No panic there, and a 11-minute Ocean Drake, very good for the laning phase.
Yeah, I think overall some sloppy play from both teams there. There's COG missing the blast cone over the wall, and then Wild Turtle not really doing anything except burning his flash when he went to stop that and waiting for the rest of his team. Also want to point out Svenskeren's maxing Q on Ivern instead of the shield, which is something people did a lot on launch of Ivern until most people decided shield was better. The Q does have some good rank up incentives with the cooldown reduction, as well as increasing the loop duration, but the shield is normally just such a better combat summoner, so Svenskeren really just going for picks with that choice. And
it is worth pointing out, some of Sven's contemporaries are still doing shield max, amazing. For example, on Fnatic's been playing Ivern today and was doing shield max still in his game. So different strokes for different folks, it seems right here. Nice job on Darshan knocking down the barrel. That could have been deadly. But CLG's dual lane right here behind it. Again, wins the barrel fight, but look out, here comes the play. Ulti in, wave clear in for the GP ulti, and so keeps him safe. Yeah, and Hanser going relatively aggressive with what's essentially a 3-man gank, but a pretty ineffective 3-man gank. If they just burn the GP ultimate, it'll be about what they can do from here. COG is a big fan of the delayed lane swap, and they usually do that to try and get first turret. So they burn the GP ultimate and the flash. Now it's about whether or not they can rush down this turret before TSM can get it on the other side. It's going to be a bit close. We expect Karma to have more damage output than a Thresh. In fact, now you've got the Kha'Zix here as well. Huhi even adding his own pressure to make sure it's going to go all right. And CLG, I believe, should be faster on the play. Yep. Yeah, this turret going down rapidly. Huhi, just the insurance. He will miss a wave in mid because of this, but it still might have been the right play if it guarantees first turret gold. Yeah, they once again get the first turret, and now it's also about the extension of the play because they have a tempo lead right now. Notice they killed that turret about 8 seconds before TSM was able to kill theirs. So not only did they get the first turret gold, they also have the time to get the deep wards inside Svenskeren's jungle. That's going to be a lot of vision that CLG can play with. This top side is theirs. I don't know if they're going to get to grab Rift Herald for themselves, but at least they can steal the red buff away, and that feels pretty good as Huhi goes back to mid to clear away, and Counterlogic Gaming only on this 100 gold lead, basically tied right here, as now we get to see which team can make the bigger plays as we head into the mid game.
Yeah, a fair bit of variance in the first 13 minutes. So if you're just tuning in now, you're thinking it's going to be this really close game. But no, COG was actually off to a spectacular start, getting double buffs off the jungler, then getting the kill top lane as well. So you think COG had an opportunity to snowball the game, but were just unable to do so. Bjergsen picked up a kill in the mid lane, and since then it's kind of now on COG to try and make the plays.
Flash root, Turtle doesn't have flash to get himself out, but the Lantern's gonna be there anyway. Daisy for just good insurance. Look at that. Looks so clean. Out they go.
Yeah. Once again, they're trying to just rotate their AD and jungler and threaten a roam from the mid laner to get more turret pressure, but TSM just catching up to that one, and COG's unable to push this one, having the package being picked up recently by Bjergsen. They have to respect the Corki roam bot lane.
They do, and of course keep in mind bot lane outer turret is dead as well on CLG's side. They've got to respect that. Look at the poke, just Huhi never juking behind his minions. Bjergsen just has a clean line for missile barrage. That's going to make life a little bit more difficult. Huhi able to regen back up, and he's going to grab blue buff and then recall. But Bjergsen's still with priority. Gets to take away Raptors. That's like, I think 2 or 3 times in a row, this camp has been stolen away from CLG.
Yeah, over 100 gold in this Raptor camp now, as well as a large amount of experience. So that definitely hurts xMithi. It's hard for most junglers to keep up with Ivern in the first place as far as experience, just because how fast you can clear jungle camps. It's even harder when the enemy mid laner is taking your juiciest camp.
Absolutely agree. For xMithi, his gold is inflated by sharing some of that first turret gold, but is individually 600 gold above Sven Skaren, but down a level, and you can kind of see, right, as far as jungle clear is concerned, it is going a bit better for that Ivern. Hauntzer and Darshan splitting off from the top side. Hauntzer sadly doesn't one-shot cast, but with a second barrel can do so. Once Trinity Force is done, that should change a bit. Otherwise, they're just pairing off, but TSM, you can see earning more gold overall. Some of that is Gangplank existing. He does print money, as pirates tend to do. The shopkeeper can't tell it's counterfeit.
Yeah, there you go. Easy. What's interesting to me about this game as well is just how much map movement is going to come into play. These aren't necessarily your standard frontline with large amounts of poke team compositions we've been seeing in most of the LCS. There's a lot of skill shot reliance for TSM, and then a lot of just rotational ability by COG with the Karma, Sivir, and Aurelion Sol trying to match this mid lane roam by TSM.
See how much more they can get through this mid game. You can see TSM putting the pressure on the mid lane. CLG had to play back against that. Huhi, for the most part, has lost pressure on this. Quick Scuttle Crab takes 60 minutes into the game, and Sven can't smite steal without channeling first. And if you take damage, the channel stops, so he's not going to try for that. Easy enough pickup for xMithi.
Darshan does have his teleport up, but there's no wards with great flank position right now, as TSM is getting really aggressive on pushing this turret. TSM's got to be careful and mindful of their flanks, since the Maokai flank is quite threatening when you add to the fact that COG could follow up with the Sivir and the Karma. So they're kind of backing away from that, just in fear of the potential Maokai teleport.
Absolutely things to be concerned about. Absolutely, there's a real tank, and it's a good engaged tank that does command respect. CLG now the team actually pushing the mid lanes in, and hoping they can make something happen. Hauntzer just waiting in the wings, and you can see the mid laners kind of trading back and forth, splitting the side waves, looking to create the piece of pressure. Hauntzer wants to go for this. Barrel's gonna be forward. The 3 chain gets dodged away by Huhi. Nice try, Hauntzer.
Quite a nice juke by Huhi, just seeing the barrel being placed, putting it together quickly in his mind that it is going to be a chain from that tri-brush and sidestepping to avoid all the damage. Now he roams mid lane, and this could be a collapse.
Not quite gonna get some of the Sven Skaren, but they are getting pushed away from the turret. Lantern brings Bjergsen to safety, but half HP on Corki is a low health bar right here, but it does mean that CLG, just with that chunk, gets control over the bot river, and that's gonna be double Ocean Drake, probably uncontested. TSM do not feel like they can fight this at all.
Yeah, and this is actually quite important in this particular matchup to have the double Ocean Drake on the side of COG. There's a lot of poke on TSM in siege situations with the Jhin and the Corki, so having double Ocean is going to make that poke very ineffectual and make it so TSM really has to land those hooks or those Ivern Qs in order to start fights, because that double Ocean Drake is going to be massive regen in the middle lane.
It is really going to be significant, absolutely matters. Ooh, that was nearly a hook onto xMithi. Didn't even burn Leap to get away. He felt very safe on that, but he's only a few inches away from his Void Spikes on his back. Once again, the play for the turret pressure, and yeah, we're seeing a lot of this happen. Both these teams not going for the really big plays, right? It's been 99% wave control, half damage in one champion. Says, okay, you're right, we can't go for Drake. We'll back off and try again later. And it's a very measured game one right now.
Yeah, and depending on where you are on the map from a positional standpoint, like if you're a mid laner or a top laner versus an AD carry and Sivir, your power spike's actually hitting at a different time, which makes these team compositions a little bit peculiar. For instance, Darshan and Huhi kind of want to fight now. GLP for Aurelion Sol is a massive power spike, as well as Sunfire Cape and Ninja Tabi for Darshan. But we look at someone like Stixxay, and he doesn't turn on until he's got Essence Reaver, Infinity Edge, and a Zeal item completed.
Yeah.
Whereas you look at Wild Turtle, and he's Big Nap. Ghostblade Edge of Night is one of the best points in the game for a Jhin. But you contrast that with the Gangplank, who wants to be able to scale up on a few more different axes, and they're strong at different parts of the map, which means when they group together, their power is actually becoming kind of equal, which is one of the reasons neither of these teams is able to push a big advantage.
Yeah, it really is interesting that, because again, it's across different lanes as well. Right? Sivir and Gangplank have similar power curves. Maokai and Jhin are happy right now, and of course those guys are all on opposite sides. So it's just spacing out, it's just timing out, it's just chilling for now.
Yeah, the success will be found if the teams can find skirmishes with their characters who are strong. So TSM wants to fight around Bjergsen and Turtle right now because that's where they're strong. Whereas COG wants to fight around Huhi and Darshan, while Stixxay keeps the waves pushing in other parts of the map.
And you can see Bjergsen, one of the best power spiking champions, of course, on this Corki. Trinity Force done, sounds great in the mid game. Svenskeren and flanking him to make sure he's safe, and that's going to be the first turret taken in a while. TSM's mid laner making the opening move by just being too strong to duel. See CLG hoping for pressure on the bot side, but not getting a lot out of it. That's pretty much just an unanswered turret kill. And now look at how low mid lane is. Just TSM mostly able to use Turtle and Bjergsen as the pressure points, and 3 turrets to 1 now, TSM advantage.
Yeah, Huhi can pick one up in his side lane, but that was a pretty classic Ivern play. You just walk into a lane, throw Daisy at the turret, and push. It forces the other team to have a response, or you just get the turret. Really love that out of Ivern, since you're such a shielding support type champion, you almost want to dare people to dive into you, since I almost like to compare it a lot of times of playing Janna out of the jungle. You have so much shielding and counter engage, and you have so much peel thanks to your Daisy. Just setting up shop and trying to get the team to run into you is oftentimes where you find your biggest advantages, as opposed to aggressively going for picks with your Q. You just CC people to come into you with your Q. It's much easier to land that way.
Absolutely. Now we have Darshan, maybe in a bad way, has some MR, but look at the damage up that Bjergsen's got against him. Exhaust is in, and Darshan doesn't really have a way out. Ult's there for damage reduction, trying to juke the skill shots. And look at this damage on a Stixxay. Snipe comes through for Wild Turtle, and all the map is opening up 2 for 0 overall. They can land this Q into Xpithia. It could be even more. Rue nearly lands a deadly flourish. The flash. Xpithia gets away just barely with the skin of his teeth.
Yeah.
TSM map control.
Xpithia has to dodge everything just to get out of there with his life, and that was TSM forcing fights in the right places. Bjergsen does mainly magic damage, so he can take down Darshan, who's itemized just armor, and then they get Wild Turtle against Stixxay while Hauntzer is pushing the lane and just trying to farm up. So the powerful points we talked about earlier, TSM was able to capitalize on, and they reap the rewards.
See if they can get any more out of this one. Looks like it's just the minion wave control. You can look at the minimap and see that pretty much all that minimap is red. Top, mid, and bot all shoved in. As we watch this fight again.
Oh, and you can see Svenskeren lands that max rank Q for the delayed route. Just has to land one shot because he was solo. And we got to see the Bjergsen solo kill earlier.
Yeah, Huhi was, of course, alone in the bot lane. TSM knew they had a 4v3 in mid, basically, after the early solo kill by Bjergsen as well. Made it even easier. TSM are in the driver's seat, absolutely, and the couple early kills for CLG, even though they had the nice plays, Darshan doesn't get to open up the matchup any farther, such as the life when you're playing Maokai. TSM just got to use their stronger members to wedge the map open, it felt like.
Yeah, exactly, and while they've been doing that, Hauntzer has been catching up completely in this game. He was down about 25 CS very early in the game, but now, thanks to the kill and all the split push, he's actually up in gold. GP has a little bit to do with that with the enhanced gold on Parlay, but the important thing is that while Hauntzer's been catching up, they haven't been punished in map pressure. Darshan unable to create plays with his lead, and now he's pretty much just splitting farm in a side lane with the GP, which is hard to call a big advantage. Yeah,
absolutely. So TSM looking very solid to retain their advantage in this mid game. Carnology Gaming haven't gotten a kill since minute 5, and the turrets they've gotten are ones that have been traded back by TSM within a few seconds. So the Ocean Drakes are nice. I do want to not completely discredit those advantages, but it's still been an uphill battle right now. Counterlogic Gaming losing more and more of the map over time. We'll see what TSM's next aggressive move is. Triple Ocean Drake actually going to be the spawn, and TSM wouldn't mind the resources, but right now CLG pushes away. Rolls this in, looking for the play. Root on a bio, across the juke away from Darshan, and the damage comes in the front line. And here comes Curtain Call. Who he's stuck in the front, has to flash away. Shot's gonna come through. Aframu forces in a flash, and he will juke that final shot away. Another Root comes in, and this time Bjergsen overextends into Brush. That's a huge misplay. And Biofrost once again, the target slowed down, assassinated. One more shot will do it. Sticks to it, the Ricochet gets the kill. Credit 2-0 CLG.
And the beginning of that fight was actually absorbed by TSM quite well until they decided to continue the chase in. And we got to see kind of the lack of tanks in the front line really punishing them right there as Bjergsen was taken down early. Great start of fight there by CLG. Now they're all back at full health, looking to dive more.
Looking to dive more, Darshan putting his gold to work. The invincible Maokai onto the turret. It's 2, it's 3, it's the ace for Counterlogic Gaming.
Such a decisive series of events for CLG, utilizing their initiation ability with the Sivir and the Karma and the Maokai to go all in. The delayed ace leads right into a Baron attempt.
And that's going to be a pretty clean Baron kill. Bjergsen has to make some kind of miracle steal, and he's not even going to try. He's walking bot lane. TSM accepting their defeat with grace. CLG, look at that, 3,000 gold with a Baron buff.
And that's the type of team coordination you want to see out of CLG. To start this fight, TSM absorbed the locket by Svenskeren. Almost looked like it absorbed the Aurelion Soul ult, and you're thinking they've turned this around, and they can just stop right here and reset. The problem, though, is when Bjergsen face checks into a root from Darshan's Maokai. That turns the fight around very easily for CLG. They then just walk through to Biofrost, and here, you can see a bunch of people on CLG are about half health, but double Ocean Drake, they just sit back, they get a little bit of lifesteal off the wave, and now everyone's actually full health for the repeat dive, and TSM has not let their turrets die freely. Smithy jumps in, it's a 3v5, they easily clean them up, and not only do they get the Baron, they also go and pick up their third Ocean Drake.
Triple Ocean Drake, practically invincible to jungle monsters, and they'll recoup any Corki damage as soon as it happens right here. Counterlogic Gaming, I think, feeling pretty good. Mountain Drake gonna be the next one up, which means just to being invincible to Baron, they're going to kill it really fast in 6 minutes if they can grab that as well. CLG, what can they do with this lead now? They've managed to equalize the turret score, pushing for bottom.
They push straight in, especially if they can pick Svenskeren.
That's going to be a lot of damage here. The CC going to layer, but not enough to get him away. It's going to be the Lantern now.
Yeah, but CLG wants to continue this push as much as possible. Haunter is not here. They have the Baron and 5 people. Expect CLG to try and pull the trigger here if they want to go for more.
They found it, flash into Root, onto the Corki, the Gatling gun, the Valkyrie's going to go down anyway. The trigger got pulled. CLG now into the base for as much as they can. Fresh to keep him safe, Redemption to heal him up. Haunter can only try to trade turrets best he can.
They at least want the inhibitor out of this, and one thing about Ocean Drake pushes, especially when you have this many, is unless you're killing them, they're going to regen up to full health, so they're going to keep going.
It's like the old Baron buff. It used to give you a ton of health and mana regen in like 2012, and CLG's got the same stats here. Goodbye to Daisy, and the siege is on for that bottom Nexus turret, but they are going to have to back off Darshan. How long will it take to get full health? Well, 5 seconds with the recall. Teleport's still up. They're going to go for
Teleport straight back in. If they get more picks, they're just going to keep going.
Damage on Biofrost. TP's in. They're all very, very low. 15 seconds, 10 now on Bjergsen. Looking to take down some Nexus turrets already. Counterlogic Gaming are decisive as you like it. Here we go. Nexus turret number 2.
Never-ending push.
But Bjergsen has respawn. Sven running out of HP. Turret still a bit low, but it's hitting him back. 1 kill picked up. The second one into Hanser. CLG will not be stopped. They continue to push on in, and they're still going to knock down more and more of the base. The Nexus now left open. Hook on a Huhi. The flash play. They can't make it happen. Stixay wins his duel with Wild Turtle. And after the early game deficit and a comeback for TSM, Counterlogic Gaming closes it out at 27-30.
Just like that. I love the decisiveness